So, welcome back to the weekly offload. So, we're back with Luke and Ethan. So, last week we had a great episode with you boys. Obviously, we delved into your career, Luke, at the start, and then had you both on. We had a little bit of banter, a bit of back and forth, and then went back into talking rugby league. So, today we had a few stories on there too. So, today we're previewing State of Origin Game 3. So I know Ethan's raring to go. He's got a little bit to say about it. So obviously game 2, the way it turned out, New South Wales came back or nearly completed the comeback. There was a penalty count of 8 zip in the first half.
Yeah.
How did you find the game, mate, in game 2?
Honestly, it was the biggest rort I've ever seen. It should be investigated. Ashley Klein, take his reffing license, mate. This is ridiculous.
Wow.
Honestly, it's that bad. I know it's probably better if they get to a game 3 at decider and that, but it was just stupid, like how many penalties there were. It ruined the game, to be honest.
Yeah.
And like I told you before, we had a fucking Queenslander bloke behind us who had no idea about rugby league, and he's like, "Yeah, that's right. Yeah, fucking New South Wales, mate. I just want to deck him."
Did he know you guys were professional players?
I don't know. They did something for our club at this pub, but this bloke was just there on the one out, so I don't know what he was doing, but he was doing my head in. I couldn't stand him. Honestly.
Yeah.
And we've got a few blokes in the team who aren't Aussies, who just happen to go for Queensland. Yeah. And they have no idea about rugby league as well, mate. They start trying to tell us about
My roommate, Frenchie, that you met, he goes for Queensland. Munster's his favourite player. I said, mate, do you know where Queensland is? He goes, no. He doesn't even know where Queensland is, and he's supporting them. And he was getting up and carrying on like a fucking idiot too whenever they'd score and stuff. And
Yeah, that did my head in.
yeah, but
It's funny though, we were saying too, like it's weird that it's even my Kiwi mates in high school, they were big Maroon supporters, and I was like, what makes you go for them? And they're like, oh, they're just a bit more passionate.
It was huge back home for us. Like at school, like when you're so young, you're talking about it all the time, and you just, I was almost in tears when we lost. And they say that, that saying, we don't get it, but we're, mate, I'm
shits, mate. They just talk crap, mate, about all this stuff. I've always got to do one up, like when they announce the teams. Just do it on Sunday. Why you got to do it on Monday? Like all this little shit like this. Queensland's always got to be special. It's always more for them. I can't stand it, mate.
Yeah, I've had this exact conversation with my mates. I can't believe like they let them do that, like release the team at a different time. It's very odd. But did you find as well, what I found, I don't want to throw you boys under the bus like I was saying, but what I found as well, it was interesting that around that period when Queensland was always winning, he said, Queensland are always more composed and they don't feel any pressure. But you could see with Billy Slater, he cracked. I thought this sort of time. So there were and also dropping Daly Cherry Evans wasn't very Queensland-like, quote unquote. So did you guys find a little bit of cracks after game 1?
Yeah, mate, they were losing their heads. Like, honestly, they dropped their captain. Like, I don't know if he was informed before. It's been a lot of controversy with him this year, so maybe he's got off-field pressure. And Dearden's playing really good, so it's hard done by him. But they drop him after game 1, and luckily they have a penalty count that's nearly triple or 4 times what we had. And we missed like 4 goals, and we only lose by 2. We played the worst game. Like, they're broken. They think they're killing it now. They're dead set. They're done, mate. I can't wait for the 3rd game. The ref calls a 50-50. We're going to fucking smash them, mate.
Yeah, well, I think even Phil Gould was saying about Cherry Evans. He said it would have been hard for any halfback in that situation because they were getting beaten in the around the ruck. So it would have been tough. What did you think about that, mate, of him being dropped?
Yeah, well, I think it was, I think it's Dearden's time. He's young and, he's going to be there 7 for the next, he could be for the next 10 years. So I think it's time they just put him in there. And I think the best thing they did was put Munster as captain. I think, the way he goes about his game, and I just think, giving him that responsibility of being the captain just made him step up, and I think he did. Especially him, Harry Grant around the ruck, they just carved us up. Harry, played a really good game too. I think he sort of controlled that middle third of the field and, just really let him around. But yeah, we just got to be more disciplined. That's all. I know it was the referee that blew the penalties, but we're the ones that got to be onside. We're the ones that need to, not be so long in the ruck and those sort of things. We got to be more disciplined to, get those 50-50 calls,
You know what, though? I'll have to watch game one back again, but I don't think actually Cherry Evans was that bad. They just lost, they've just scapegoated.
Well, their middles were bad.
That's what I mean.
You can't play as a half. You can't play your style of football if your forwards aren't going forward.
Yeah, they get run through the whole time. New South Wales dominated them, and I felt like they scapegoated him a little bit. To be fair, Dearden's probably the inform half for Queensland, even probably over Munster, but to push him aside like that, I thought was very un-Queensland, what they always go on about, after all the times they've given it to us about it. And Billy Slater just folds under the pressure in the media, mate. You can't handle it. You cannot handle losing and doing it. When he said, "We are Queensland" or something like that, what are you talking about?
Yeah, I kind of agree with you. Like I said, I didn't want to put words in you boys' mouths.
I'll get them out there, don't worry.
But especially when it's to do with Queensland. But yeah, I just found it ironic that through that period of their dominance, there was a lot of talk that New South Wales panics. Quite a lot. But when you're winning, you boys chatted about it on the last podcast, when you're winning, everything flows. It's easier to not get angry or I guess turn against each other or whatever else it is. But then this is the first time he'd been under pressure as a coach because obviously in game one, like you guys were saying, it was like a lot of people said felt sort of not like Origin in the sense that you didn't feel like New South Wales were going to lose, even though we missed all the kicks in that game as well. But it did feel odd. So what about for the last game, boys? What's your thoughts on that? How do you think that will go?
You want to go?
Well, on paper, I just think we've got too good of a team. I just think Cleary wasn't up to his best. And him and Luai back together, I don't think that was the problem. I just think, with whatever, as soon as we saw that Nathan wasn't kicking in field, you could tell something was up. And his kicking game is so good, but we did miss Mitchell Moses' kicking game too. That was a big loss for us. For me, I don't get Luai. Really, I don't get. He's got the anger, he's got the hunger and stuff. But I just don't. Every time he just skips across, does all these things, I just it sort of annoys me a little bit. I think he just tried to do too much. I think he probably thought he had a bit of pressure on him, but I just didn't think
get that
he was.
with him a little bit though,
It's
good and bad, that style, because
but
when it comes off, it's like that last game last year where he skips out. And we win game 3 off him. I don't mind when people like that, they back themselves because it can't always come off. If you're just a robot, you do the same thing all the time. He's consistent. But if you've got someone like Luai who's got a bit of that spark, sometimes it's going to come off and they're going to love it. The last 4 years with Penrith, he's been killing it. But then game 2, maybe not his best game. It was pissing down rain, so it's not ideal for those sort of players. But all their points still come down that side. He's still got that little attack. Second half was good, but we're only going to focus on the negatives because we lost.
But that's what I mean. He didn't have to do too much. You've got Latrell Mitchell outside you. You've got Angus Crichton outside you. Just give him early ball. You know what I mean? Or just dig into the line and then find Thingo out the back and let them use those players out the back so then they can and like I said, as soon as they go out the back, they score every time. Queensland couldn't do anything about it. That's
why, obviously, I feel weird critiquing players. They're much better players than myself, but they got it right at the end of the game too. As long as they just keep doing what they're doing, I'm sure they'll come home flying. I hope they smash Queensland by 50. Mate, I hope we pull 50. I hope they throw the grenade, everything. I want another grenade celebration. And that starts out 8 years in a row. I hope we do.
Oh, me too, mate. I was actually going to ask you, mate, as you're chatting about that, and I thought of it. In terms of, as you boys said, like you haven't played Origin, but you're professional players. Do you think, like in previous years or even game two, like the Penrith style was played a little bit too much? Because when we had Maloney on the show, he was saying that Origin is more about getting over the advantage line and sort of playing as you see it more than NRL. So what's your thoughts on that with the game plan for the Blues?
Yeah, probably the one that stand out most for me. I think it was last year when Isaiah Yeo threw that ball out the back and Cherry Evans just, read it so easily and so quickly. It's just that Penrith style football where he's playing that ball out the back, and sometimes it's not easy to read. Like they've won the last 4 years, but I think in Origin, because it's the best of the best, you need to throw a bit different stuff at them in order to score. But again, it's been working for them for the last 4 years, hasn't it?
And then, like, do you guys, obviously I'm biased, like being a Para supporter, but I thought even having Mitchell Moses there does what you're just saying. It gives, obviously he's playing probably the Parramatta style, quote unquote. It gives us a little bit of difference in attack as well. Would you say that's fair?
Well, I liked him being there ahead. Like, he's in form. He probably deserved to be there over Luai. Like, Cleary's obviously always going to get his spot. And then if you're going to pick between the two, I know he's been injured, but when Moses is on, he's on. Like, he's one of the best in the game. But for me, I think Origin is just like about effort and intensity, Like, you just got to, like you were saying, we sort of played around a little too much, it felt like, instead of just going up the middle. Like, we had him up the middle in the first game. We just go again. Like, you get Big Payne ass and get him going up there. Who was the one that got injured? Who pulled out game two?
Was it Barnett?
Mitch Barnett.
Yeah, Barnett.
Like, very underrated. Like,
Yeah.
as a player, you watch him, like, I don't know, if just like anyone watching him, they go like, oh, him, Max King, they're like average players. But being that sort of player in that position, like me as a back row, I'm sort of that worker type. You appreciate him so much more. Losing Mitch Barnett was huge for us. Like, not saying that Stefano Itazakamo, I can't pronounce it. Not saying, I don't want to get it wrong.
Yeah.
Not saying he had a good job, but Mitch Barnett last 2 years been unreal. That was a big miss for us, up the guts defence. So.
Well, I think it's like what you guys were saying, because game one, they said it was very odd that we made like, I think 70 metres that first set. And that's normally not like what Origin is. And then I think we just kept hammering it down there. But as we were saying, I guess game two, it sort of seemed to change a little bit. I wonder, like for you boys as well, being players, like does anything happen when you score the first try? Does any part of your mind, because I've seen it so many times, like in NRL or Origin, does any part of your mind, or is this crazy? This is me asking as a fan, or is this crazy to think that you think, oh, it might not be as hard of a day as we think?
Yeah, you always get that, oh, we've got him here. You know what I mean? Especially with the good teams, and if you score first, you go, all right, we can actually do this. It's just that little sense of belief that I get whenever you score first, and sometimes it works out being all right. You go on and win the game, but sometimes you may score first and you still may get pumped 50-0 or whatever. So it does happen, but
especially if it's early, I feel like you come out the gates, everyone's got the adrenaline pumping. If you score, it's just like, oh, we're gonna have a good day. But me personally, I think the couple sets after that, like we might score, they might just be a bit behind. But if we can keep going, those couple sets after, and we still roll them, that's when I go, this is gonna be a good day. But if we score, they might have just had a lapse of concentration. And the next set, we can't get out of our 20. I go, well, now we're in for a game because now we've woken them up. It's more that couple sets after. If we roll them, I go, we've got them here.
Yeah, one thing, although we're all Queensland haters, but one thing I do find that I hate New South Wales does, we do take them lightly in a sense. Like, not maybe the players, but the media, for example. Like, it's like we won the first game, and then I had Pat Clifton on the podcast. Shout out to Pat. And then he was saying, oh, I feel like we'll roll them again in game two. And I was like, just
Yeah.
hold off a little. I do find New South Wales, we do get a bit too excited, do you think?
Yeah. Well, especially when was it that few years ago when Wayne Bennett took over that coaching role and they beat us on game 3. It's, you know, you can never rule them out. You know, they're still quality players. You know,
Yeah.
it's you know, they're still, you know, the best of the best. But yeah, I do agree with you there. We do get a bit cocky. If
I
you
think
would say.
it's not just picking about like the best of the best. Like now, teams are picking what's best for the team as well. Like there's probably some people that are in form. Like how good's Ryan Pappenhausen been for ages, but like for the team, like where they're going to put him because you're always going to have like Edwards or Tedesco or something like that. I feel like it's best for the team that way.
Yeah, do you guys feel with Origin as well, what would you look for in an Origin player, do you think, to play?
I think Liam Martin.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? As soon as I think
Liam Martin.
as soon as I think Origin, I think those players. You know, your Liam Martins, your Angus Crichton, your Payne Haas, just your
I reckon Reece Robson's in there as well. He's he's in there.
Yeah, what's his name? Spencer Lenu, like those types of players is who I want to see on the field. You know, a lot of people don't like the way Lillachor Mitchell play, but then it's the sense that, you know, you love him when he's on your team, you hate him when he's against you, and I just love the way he plays, especially those type of players. Anyway,
Well, did you guys know he hasn't lost an Origin series?
really?
So every time he plays, we win.
Oh, we're good then.
Yeah,
Sweet.
so he's in. Yeah, so I'm being very New South Wales like and saying we're gonna win for sure. But yeah, he hasn't lost a series, which I thought was a pretty interesting stat that a lot of people do not realise. Because as you said, he's probably polarizing in Australia, I guess
Yeah.
you could say, because he can be brilliant. Like a couple of games, I think you boys have probably caught it over here, but a couple of his last few games, he's like carrying them on his back, like kind of thing. He's had some really big games for South. And then what about boys? Because you're sorry, Ethan, you are younger than me, mate. But Luke, you're a fair bit younger than me. Your memories of Origin probably were being dominated.
The 8 years.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
I don't remember. I can't remember us winning before that.
Really?
Like, yeah. When did they start winning all those
It
games?
was 05 or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, I
be-
think
05,
the
04.
first,
It was like-
06 was their first win, and then they won 8, and then we won 1, and then Queensland won another
Yeah.
3.
It was like I remember early 2000s, New South Wales smoked them. And then it's back and forth, and then Lockyer got that like drop ball where he's like or a charge down or something. He scored under post. I think
No,
that
it
kicked
was
off.
you
that
know
it?
who it was? It was Brett Hodgson.
Brett Hodgson.
Yeah, because he
Okay,
was an
yeah.
ex-eel, and he threw a ball from dummy half, and
Yeah,
then
that's
Lockyer picked it up. And I can remember it was weird because I remember like.
Parramatta players.
Yeah, I know. But
yeah.
I'll tell you why.
Another
I've got a very. My friends say I've got a very autistic memory for rugby league anyway. But I'll tell you why I remember it in particular because I got hammered. Like I went to school and I got absolutely because my mate was Cronulla, and when Brett Kamali threw that intercept, I think that was that series. That was game
Golden
1 of that
Point.
series. Yeah,
it was.
Golden Point.
Matty Bowen or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, and he was a Cronulla fan living in Western Sydney, so he was on his own. So you had Bulldogs fan, Eels fans just giving it to him. But then when he threw that, and I do remember the reason why I wanted to ask you because it'd be such a different experience for yourself rather than me, because when I grew up, I've got one of the old jerseys on now, but when I grew up I remember the 2000, like the grenade and all that, and we were quite like, we had Andrew Johns, we had Brad Fittler, almost, to be honest, it sounds arrogant, but the times we lost I kind of thought we did beat ourselves as well. And I feel like if Queensland did have that talent reversed, they would have done that 8 years in a row because we had so many players. And that 2006, I remember the media saying Origin's dead.
Yeah,
We were going for our 4th year in a row, and it's such a change. Like, because then after that they won 8 in a row.
That's what I mean. The media,
Yeah.
honestly, they just hype Queensland. Oh, I can't stand it, mate.
Let it out. This is a weekly. I didn't actually get your. Normally I get like a guest weekly offload. So this is your offload, mate. Let it out.
I'm sick of it, mate. I'm sick
Yeah.
of it, honestly. They get all the hype. It's always pressure on New South Wales. Queensland are the underdogs, like Luke said. Both teams are stacked with good players. Maybe
Yeah.
Blues have got someone better on paper, but they're still a gun team. And it's always, Queensland's underdogs. All the pressure goes on the Blues. Like they probably don't hear about it in the camp because they're probably secluded.
Do you feel like New South Wales always are under pressure? Like
Yeah,
we're
that's
always
what it
like
feels like.
expected to win, but
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Whereas like there's no pressure on Queensland. It's just always
That's what I mean. As
always
soon as
on
that-
us to win.
As soon as that dynasty was done and we had a good team, New South Wales should follow.
They have
should
to
follow.
win. They have to win. They have to win. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just that, mate. It's just ridiculous.
Well, I think like as you said, the narrative. I think it's kind of a big thing because their narrative is always from 1980. Like because they used to get pumped in the interstate series, their narrative is always like we're the underdogs. We're like the little brother. No matter if like in those 8 years, obviously, they said the Australian side in there,
Pretty
but
much.
they'd still like say, "Oh, we're all sick" or whatever, and try to get to not be favourites. And I think a lot of the times. Game 1, we've been favourites so many times in game 1, which is so bizarre. Like as
You
well.
know what? I saw actually seen some stuff come up on like Facebook of old games, and some of those games were like being won by field goals, and they had like Smith, Cronk, Thurston, Slater, Inglis. Like their team was stacked, and they're only winning by 1 point. Like for a lot of those series, some of them they blew us out, but a lot of the games were fairly close right till the end. You know, like so they go on like it was a dominant thing, but they're only just winning, and I hate they just go on about it all the time.
Yeah, because Cooper, was that one with Cooper? Cooper Cronk kicked a field goal about 40 metres out and won the game.
Yeah.
And that was really in the balance as well.
Yeah, like those games were just they just got the opportunity and they took it, you know, like and they go on like they were smashing us every year. Oh, it's just
Although
it's close.
my favourite game I've ever been to was Suncorp Game 3. Can't remember what year it was. And we got fucking pumped, mate. But it was my favourite game to watch. Just watching Cronk, Slater, Thurston, GI.
I think I remember that.
It was good football to
I think
watch.
game
You know,
two,
when
we had a good
you
win.
can just appreciate good football. You watch it and you go, nice.
Yeah, you see someone do like a mad run a mad line and
Yeah.
pass through, you go, fuck, how good's that?
Yeah.
Well, for
Can't
you
stop
guys,
it. Can't
I
stop
mean,
it.
for you guys, like I said, as professionals, it would be like you can critique it a little bit more. But speaking of going up to Queensland, I remember I went up there when we hadn't won for so many years, and when we go get a coffee or whatever, they go, "What are you doing up here? Like you're not going to win." But that was.
Off.
Yeah, but that was
Already writing us off.
yeah, everyone like was giving it to us. They're like, "Oh, what? You're wasting your flight, blah blah." But that was the game. I don't know if you boys remember, but Morris got injured on the sideline, and then he runs
And then he
back
runs
on.
up, yeah.
That obviously,
Yeah.
as I said, I can't. You boys probably would know more, or definitely know more, like what that's like. But I remember in the stand, like I have goosebumps now. Like I remember watching it, and I said to my mates,
Yeah.
I'm like, I think we're gonna win. Like we just kept like turning up last minute. Darius Boyd, because he scored so many tries in the corner, like just catching the ball and going under.
Yeah.
But there was a one where he was like 100 to 1. They wouldn't stop him, and they stopped him. Like I think they rolled him over and then rolled him out,
Yeah.
and it was just like great effort.
They had great heart, those
Yeah.
teams, even though they lost. Like
Yeah.
Queensland obviously had a much better side. Like New South Wales was still gun as well, but like the gel in that Queensland team, and they'd take them all the way. Like the heart they had, mate, I was proud to be a Blue. I didn't care who it was. at all.
Yeah.
That's why I love watching them now because like it's our turn, you know. Like we should
Yeah.
be giving it to them. I hope those in camps they show all those like 8 series in a row before them. So they see all this, fuel it.
Yeah,
Let's
just
give it
before
back
they
to
run
them.
out,
Just
the
before
8
you run
years
out,
that they
every
run,
time
yeah.
show them holding up the
Yeah.
trophy.
Yeah, because I feel I have mentioned him a bit just because I've had him on recently. But yeah, Jimmy Maloney did say he said they were arrogant. He said they had a right to be arrogant, like if you win that much. But he said there was like an air of arrogance like to that team. Well, I don't know if you boys remember, but the Australian team started singing the Ya Ya Yippee Yippee Ya, like
no
the
way.
Queensland after an
Worst song
Australian.
of all time.
Yeah, it's a shit.
To be fair, ours isn't much better. I really don't like our
I
new
don't rate
one.
the new one.
Like,
The other ones, the
watching
Queensland
them-
song's 3 syllables, mate. You couldn't come up with anything else. Honestly, like, that's how smart they are up there.
You reckon they've been marrying their cousins too much?
There's only 3 families up in Queensland.
Queen, yeah.
Suncorp sits 40,000, has 80,000 people going out.
Oh, that's funny, mate. But what about even Gal? Like, what are your memories of that first that punch up? That sort of changed. It changed the game because then they started giving 10 minutes for every punch up. Like, what are your thoughts on that as players?
I think it's ridiculous. I think it's part of the game. There's other sports that have it now, like they have it in hockey and stuff like that. I love watching it. The fans love it. And the thing I hate most about it, about taking it out of the game, is all the promotion for the game is a push and shove and big hits and fights, shoulder charges. Why promote it like that if you don't want it part of the game? Like, and now they're introducing fines for the players and stuff like that with suspensions. I find it ridiculous. Like, if you don't want that part of the game, then don't put it in the promotion, you know? Like, I reckon...
But again, that's just the media trying to fucking build it up.
Yeah.
Build it up to
Yeah,
the
but
state
it's
of
stupid.
origin.
The NRL would have a tick of approval for it. So, like, if you're going to promote it, let the players do it. Because I guarantee there was one big fight at the start of a game. If I get smoked in that fight, I don't want to fight again. I just want to try and beat them. Like, you don't want to, you're not going out there to punch on and stuff like that. Emotions are high. It's going to come out. Just let it come out at the start, and then that's it. And then the game will keep going. Maybe give them 10 in the bin for 2 blokes that start it. But that shoulder charges, mate. It takes away from the game. That aggression, people want to see that. You know, that'll get more people in the seats. You know.
Well, I do know, I mean, he's not a great person, but Paul Kent, the journalist, I remember him saying, that it's almost like the anticipation is gone too. So it wasn't actually the fight even, but when you would watch Origin and you thought there might even not even be a fight for that 80 minutes, but as he said, it's like a little bit like watching maybe a horror movie. It's like the build up to the scare that might even not happen, but without taking it away, he felt like it has sort of diminished Origin in a certain sense anyway. I mean, still tough, obviously.
Obviously, the game, like itself, is crazy now. Like, if you look back 20 years, like the athletes now are completely different. The game's a mad game to watch because it's just the best athletes. Like, as a player, watching how fast they go, I don't know how they do it. Like, I couldn't do that. No way now. But, yeah, like you said, it was part of the game. Like, people would go to see that. Like, I feel like it's just ruined it a bit. Like you said, it is a great game to watch, but that anticipation, like, people love that, mate. And make the sport more global, you know? Like, you see clips online all the time. It's always showing all these old Origin things, all the best moments of Origin. Other than the tries, it's a fight or a big hit.
And then I didn't ask you boys on the last couple of podcasts, but I was going to ask like about the 6 again. So, Luke, in your era, was it mostly 6 agains?
No, it was just
when you
penalties.
first. Okay, so you've only been playing the 6 again for the last couple of years.
The last couple of years.
Okay.
Yeah. It's sort of like when they brought it into NRL, it just pretty much come down to the lower levels and stuff like that. And it's definitely made the game faster and made it flow a lot more too. I feel a lot more tired out there because it's just continuous now a little bit more. And but yeah, you can see in the Origin when they're blowing so many penalties like that, it just slows the game down. You know, and you know players are so fresh, whereas when the game's continuous, that's when your fast players, that's when your fullbacks, your hookers, they really get up and run and really take on the line way more because it's a lot slower.
Yeah, I was gonna say, as a fullback, do you like it?
Love it, yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely, because in the middle third of the field, the front rowers start to get a bit tired once the ball's in play a lot more, and that's my time to look up and go, right, I'm going to take him on now. You know what I mean? That's when I can pick and choose when I want to when I want to run, really.
Yeah, I've always wanted to ask players that obviously had the change because when I first introduced my partner to rugby league, she didn't know the difference, first of all. And then she was like, is that game like with all the penalties? And I was like, no. Because she goes, I went and watched England, Scotland at Twickenham, and I'm like, that's not rugby league. So for a fan's point of view, like for the Six Again, I like it.
Yeah.
I did feel when they had a full field, I like how, you know how it's 40 metres now with a penalty?
I like that as well. I even think it should be 20, you know. Like I thought they introduced it initially because teams like Cronulla and Melbourne back when they were good, they would just defend on their line and just keep giving penalties away. So I thought it was like to negate that because otherwise they'd just give a penalty, puts pressure on the other team. They have to do another set. You can't break them. But now I feel like the Six Again's like, it's just like a grey area for the refs. I think sometimes they call it too much. Like
okay.
it's just a cop out for them, you know. Like if the refs think about anything, they Six Again, you know. It's just.
So do you feel like, mate, that because they have the Six Again, they wouldn't blow the penalty, but they'll call Six Again?
Yeah, it's an easier out for him, you know. It's just like with the video ref, how they have to make a decision pre-seeing the camera angles. It's just a cop out for the ref. If the ref says try before, he has no idea because he hasn't seen a camera angle, then why should it just be a try after? They should give the ref an option to view all the camera angles like the video ref. The video ref can't see it. Maybe the ref saw something else. After they can go ref's call. I know they used to have something like that, but it takes the pressure off the referee. They do cop a bit of stick.
And would you boys, like when you're training, like do you train for those scenarios as well? Like the Six Again, like would you train, 6 sets back to back as well? Or not 6, 3 sets back to back as well?
Yeah, sometimes, or even like a man down, like just try and negate like what might happen in the game. So you just got to be ready for everything. But they do that sometimes. They'll be like, we'll have the ball on the line and it might get to 4th, 5th tackle and they'll go 6 again. So you have to get back to a point. You know?
Interesting.
Start again. Start the set again when you're on the heat of the moment.
Well, even that, we're going down a different route now, but that's all right. With the sim bins, when I was younger, I remember if I was at a game and they'd like sim bin for Parramatta, I would literally be like to my dad, should we go? Because they'd be finished. But now in the NRL, like, and even to a certain extent, you saw in Origin as well, like with, they said Phil Good was saying Crichton just defended 2 players. Or like on his own, they just, instead of like giving him another player to shift, they just put Crichton, and I think he only got caught out like once, but the rest of the time he was just tackling 2 players. So you guys do practice that?
Yeah.
Okay.
It'd be like just a game scenario. Maybe not a winger, but like it could be. It depends how like each team plays. But they might go, your halfback's gone. Try and figure out what to do. You know, like game situation.
You just being aware of that, and you sort of defend differently once you have a man down. Like a lot of teams will be real aggressive the way they defend, but then sometimes if they've got a man down, they might be aggressive for 5-10 metres, but then sort of back off and let the play unfold a little bit. If that makes sense. Yeah. So it's all different once in game scenarios.
If I had a team of Stephen Crichtons, I wouldn't mind getting about 3 sim bins in.
Yeah, he was like,
he's a freak, mate.
Man, I'm gonna out myself. I must admit, when I think the first game he played Origin, I was sort of a bit like, is he that good? But man, he's like turned into an absolute beast, like especially for the Bulldogs, like each week as well.
We had Turbo and Latrell, and you're sort of like, who are you going to replace out of that? You know? But Stephen Crichton at centre, wow, he's just, defence is insane, mate.
Yeah, and then what about, boys, we're going to go back to the Origin chat, but what about with the NRL? Do you guys have a grand final prediction?
I'd love to say St. George, but I don't think I can.
I'm a South fan. I don't think we're getting there this year. But I thought the game we watched yesterday morning, the Bulldogs Penrith.
Yeah.
Penrith, people wrote them off at the start of the year, but if they stay healthy, they're still up in the mix. But Canterbury, like,
I would love to see Canterbury get in there.
yeah. So
The fans they bring, the atmosphere they bring is just great. It'll be great for the game too. I think it'd be a good grand final.
You can't write off Melbourne either. Melbourne's always like in the mix, really.
Yeah.
Well,
They're always going to be there.
it's funny you say that, and it is recorded, so I'm not talking shit. But we did one in February, and I said Melbourne Bulldogs, and I got laughed out of the bloody
Really?
studio. Yeah, I've got it. Got on there. I said Melbourne Bulldogs, and yeah, my co-host and the guests were like, "Fuck, no way!"
Really?
Like, yeah. And then I think my co-host said Parramatta Penrith. So that like after about like 5 rounds, obviously I was messaging him saying, "Fuck, mate, you've picked the bottom two." Like, because we're the bottom two for certain. As you said, Penrith have come up now. But yeah, it'll be interesting. But yeah, back on State of Origin, boys. So for game 3. Like, what are you thinking? How do you think the game will play out?
Oh, look, I thought if we got a fair call in the penalties, we would have dusted them up. So I'm gonna back them again. I'm gonna pick Blues again at home. I'm gonna win like 24-12 or something like that. But it's
Okay.
gonna be like, it'll be close. But I think we'll score with like 10 or something to go. Just a nicer game. But I hope it's more. I hope it's 50-0. I hope it's a record game.
What about give
I
us
want every game to be smashed.
what about man of the match?
Man of the match if Blues go good. I could say Isaiah Yeo could be in there. I like picking the forwards, because it's that sort of grinding game. Unless someone gets like a hat-trick, like Toto was mad the last game. But I'm going to go Payne Haas, Isaiah Yeo, one of the two.
Yeah, I feel like Payne Haas will have a big one. What about you, mate? What are you thinking?
Well, like I said, it's time Nathan really takes over. He's been in the mix with one of the greatest players to ever play, and I think if he wants to be in those chats, he needs to start dominating Origin. And I think, I think he would have been a bit disappointed after game 2, and I think he, especially in yesterday's game against the Bulldogs, you can see his confidence is getting there. So I'd like to see him man of the match, and I want it to be a low-scoring game, to be honest. I'd rather see, a much better defence from both teams and, hopefully be about that, I'm going to say 12-4 New South Wales.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
What are you thinking?
Yeah.
I'm gonna say I was gonna ask you one question before I do my prediction. I was gonna say, what do you guys think, or both of you, what do you guys think if Cleary doesn't? Let's say we did lose and Cleary doesn't dominate game 3. Can you still say he's the best player? Let's say ever, because obviously that's been thrown around, or best player in the world. What do you think about that?
I think for him, time's still on his side. So even if it didn't happen now, he's done everything else. Like, they've won a World Cup. Obviously, he'll have the Ashes this year, which would be mad. If you can dominate in that, that's massive because it hasn't happened in a long time. They've won the premiership, so all he needs to do is this and come into a game 3. Like, if he gets this, he'd be up there. Obviously, he already is, but he's got time. He's still so young. He's the same age as you, or
28. I think he's a year older than
yeah, he's still got at least another
27,
like
28 years.
for a half, like another 4-5 years, easy. Look at Cherry Evans. What's he like? 35. Still going good.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you guys as players, because obviously as fans, there's a lot of talk about that. But obviously we're watching from the couch, like we're not playing. But the fact that obviously he's won so many grand finals, but then in Origin hasn't had like that breakout series, I guess you could say, for a half. But as you guys were saying, he's got so much time as well. And then for me, I'm going to say, haven't actually thought about it, but I'll go with my intuition, which has done me pretty well. The podcast, the listeners know the story as well. I've told on the podcast, so they know it. But my intuition sort of says, I'll say New South Wales will win. I reckon it'll be 24-10 to New South Wales. I think it'll be close. I think what you were saying, I think it'll be pretty close, like for most of the game, maybe 60 minutes. And I think we'll have a little bit too much class in the back end. And then man of the match, I mean, Toto scored heaps of tries in the first game. So, my immediate was Toto, but I don't think he'll end up scoring as much. I'll probably say Haas as well. I think he'll have a big. I reckon. I feel like they'll be a little bit pissed off the New South Wales forwards this game because I think we do have a better, like it's no denying a better pack, and I think they'll be a little bit annoyed that I thought that the reason why I asked you the question earlier about that, I thought we scored the first try and it felt like maybe they thought it's going to roll the same as game one, but then that didn't happen.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll say Haas as well, but I guess we'll see, boys. Time will tell. This next question, I feel like I'm a pretty good host, but I gotta say this is from ChatGPT. Okay. So I didn't come up with this, but I thought it was pretty good because I was like trying to get another question, but it said. And I actually put your names in as well, like what to ask. Yeah, it came up. Yeah, it's mate. It's freaking. We're gonna be taken over by robots. That's maybe that's like another.
Pen and paper.
Mate, that might be another podcast for us. Maybe next year when I'm in London, we'll go on and we'll talk about that. But they came up with it, and it said, if you could play one Origin game, what position would you want, and who would you want beside you? So there's a few. I'll start with you, mate, but there's a few there.
Oh, that's a tough question because I sort of can play a lot of positions. I'm a jack of all trades, master of none. So I don't know. I'd like to be, if I was big and strong enough, I'd love to be playing in the middle with like a Haas or just because all I'd want to do, there's skilled blokes that will score the points. I just want to smash Queensland, mate. I'd like to be in the middle, that kick-off carry all of them. I'd just like to be just lining them up, just smashing them, mate. I'd love to be in the middle with like I'll say Isaiah Yeo. He just goes 80 minutes. Love watching him play.
Yeah, good answer. What about you, mate?
Obviously fullback for me. And just linking up with Latrell Mitchell and Stephen Crichton on those edges. I think that'll be something pretty special. And then in the middle too, like working around Payne Haas and just waiting for his offloads and stuff, and then just playing off the back of that. I reckon it'd be great.
And then I've just, amazing answers, boys. And then I've just thought of one more before I let you guys go. Because we've given it to Queensland, I've said they're marrying their sisters or cousins or bloody whatever. They've got 3 heads. But I wanted to ask, I just thought of this. What player would you take from Queensland and put in the New South Wales team?
Easy.
Who are you going to say?
Munster.
I thought you might.
Mate,
Okay.
I just think the way he plays, the way he goes about it is just, it's really, really good.
And how do you think
it's good to watch?
Him and Cleary would be good as well?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, it works for Australia.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean? So, and it would work for any team. You know, just watching it. Even though he's Queenslander, I love watching him play.
Yeah.
Do you know, I don't even think he's playing, but you know who I'd love to see in Origin? I'm happy that I don't think he is playing, but Corey Horsburgh. I think he's the type of bloke who's built for Origin. He's got that bit of grunt about him. You could just bring him off the bench or something for New South Wales. Like, they already got a good pack, or you could start him anywhere. But I reckon he'd be he's perfect for Origin. I'm happy if he's not playing, but if I could pick one, I'd want him. He brings that aggressiveness. Him and Lenu off the bench, be mad together. I reckon. Bit of a hot head, but gets the work done.
Yeah, and then I've just thought of one last one, boys. Because you're talking about characteristics in players that you look for when you guys are playing alongside of someone for the London Broncos. Do you know immediately they're going to be good to play alongside? Is there something you see in them?
Yeah, well, you see it at training. You know, you know when we do those tackling bags and stuff, you see the people who, like some people, like everyone goes hard, but then there's those few players that just go that extra distance, you know, and you can tell, I want to play with him. Get me on my edge, you know what I mean? And I'm trying to think of a player now in the team at the moment, but obviously like Sid, when we saw him, when I first saw him, I go, bring him. He can play with me. No worries.
Luke's actually heaps good to play with. Like as a player, like he's everywhere. He's fucking exactly what you want. One that I did like, that I have liked playing with is I've only had one game with him, with Connor, because being a back rower, I'm not the biggest of back rowers, but if you got a halfback who can take the defence himself, like he was getting up past me, going, let's fucking smash him. You know, I was going, mate, how good's this? You know, like just makes my job easier. Stuff like that. Like I'm a defender more than an attacker. So when I see someone come out of the line like that, I love it. But at training, like I hate doing it on my teammates and stuff like that. I'm a bit of a game day person. So when I see someone in the game, you know, in the first couple minutes, yeah, he's good.
Well, boys, it's been great. The couple of weeks of having you guys on. I want to thank both of you. Obviously, haven't had London Broncos players on before, so maybe if I'm over here again, it might be the first of many.
Absolutely, mate.
Or I'll come back here and visit as well. But it's been excellent. Great guests for coming on. So I might get, who wants to say we've taken a load off for this week?
Off you go, mate.
I'm thinking Ethan.
We've taken a load off this week, guys.